Janine Jarman is a nationally renowned celebrity hairdresser and the founder of Hairroin Salon LA in New York, the home of Hollywood and New York's best tressed. Born and raised in Huntington Beach, California, Janine has been hair obsessed for as long as she can remember. At the age of 15, she teamed up with her best friend to offer hair and makeup services to her party-bound classmates. Jarman then moved on to beauty school, and after graduating, she immediately began shooting for the stars. Janine steadily built a loyal client base until she was bit by the entrepreneurial bug in 2005. She purchased a failing salon and immediately rebranded and reopened it as Hairroin Salon. Hairroin instantly became Tinseltown's newest obsession, garnering Hollywood clientele, including Florence Welch, Tommy Lee, Kylie Minogue, Danica Patrick, and Fergie. For many years, Jarmon was the key stylist and official hairdresser for the world's most successful female pop group, the Pussycat Dolls. Jarmon was the creator of their signature look, which led to work with celebrities such as Christina Applegate, Britney Spears, Lil Kim, and Carmen Electra. Jarmon has also been the principal hairstylist for television shows, endless commercial spots, and live shows like the MTV Movie Awards. In 2010, she burst into the national spotlight as the finalist on the third season of Bravo's hit show, Sheer Genius. Jarmon instantly became a favorite among the judges and was voted fan favorite of her season, standing out for her fearless hair creations, free spirit, and endless amounts of energy. Having naturally curly hair herself, she leaned into using perms to solve texture issues her clients were facing, but felt the need to reimagine the traditional perm process, odor, and environmental impact. This led her to Italy, where she conjured up Curl Cult, delivering simpler, healthier, more sustainable texturizing treatment with at-home curl support products even natural curls will love. All right, today on the podcast, we have the one and only Janine Jarman. So excited. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Do you think that we can fill like a 40-minute time slot between the two of us?
Obnoxiously, yes. I think that we're gonna be like, okay, that's enough. Nobody needs to know anymore.
But we're gonna start and talk a little bit about you. Tell our listeners about your beginnings. Did you want to get into the beauty industry when you were little?
Okay, so I originally wanted to be a flight attendant. That was my first dream. Yeah, I originally wanted to be a flight attendant, but at a career fair, I talked to one of my friend's moms who is the gorgeous, long, international flight attendant for, I think, United Airlines. She was like, do you think you're still going to be growing? And I think I was probably 4'5" at this point. I was always where people thought I was a genius because I was a baby going to 5th grade. You know, they're like, oh, she must be really smart. Nope. She's just really short. So I was like, I mean, a little bit. She's like, oh, because you have to be, I think it's 5'2", 5'3", something very meager to be a flight attendant, because so you can reach the overhead bins without standing on the chair. So yeah, my dreams were crushed, but it worked out,
You are.
Then was I always had really long hair in high school, would do my hair in these elaborate updos. Keep in mind is the late 90s. So Pamela Anderson,
acceptable. Yeah.
Wearing butterflies in it. And I was doing this to school, a very normal person. Yeah. And girls started asking me to do their hair like that, how I wore it to school every day. And I started an updo business. I made a friend named Noelle who did makeup, and we got together. And then I quickly realized, although I love doing hair, I loved building the business.
Oh,
yeah. So we would we'd sneak into other dances and flyer the events. We got business cards. She had her own landline. I'm really dating myself.
No, I had landlines. There's no shame in the long landline. No.
But there's people listening. They're like, what is a landline? I'm like, a real phone plugged into the wall with an answering machine that we used
for caller ID. And caller ID. That was kind of
we knew who was calling us.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So we had it was called Noelle and Neen, the hair and makeup team. We had our own business, and I made a grip of money in high school doing updos for not just my high school, but all the high schools. We were booked far in advance. And I realized quickly, I loved that. And I wanted to be amazing at hair as fast as I could. Okay. But I also wanted to own a salon as early as I could. And I did that. I ended up opening my first salon at 24.
Wow.
I took over a failed salon. So that does, anyone listening, the easiest way to open a salon is take over a failed one or one that somebody wants to retire or whatever, because plumbing and electricity are expensive and getting like enough credit to be able to sign for, a long-term lease is expensive. And a lot of times when you go in, you end up getting a better rent rate because it was negotiated years before. So,
Wow.
yeah, I'll tell you all about going in the back door.
Hot tip.
Yeah.
Okay. So where did you do everyone's hair? Like your literal kitchen, or did you talk do that?
In my bedroom at first, and my mom would manage I would say, if you're a mom out there, take everything your kids do. If they're into anything, take it dead serious. My mom treated me like I was a straight up entrepreneur, dead serious, in it to win it. There was never oh, that's cute. She's like, okay, what are you charging? What do other salons charge? Are you getting deposits? She had questions, and
wow.
Yeah, she really was in it to win it with me. We ended up subleasing a space for dance days.
Okay.
I say that it was my best friend Noelle, who did the makeup, she worked part-time at this dress shop in downtown Huntington Beach.
Okay.
And we negotiated with Michelle, the owner, and we're like, listen, we'll get all these girls in your store, which is a win for you. In exchange, your stockroom is super messy and we will clean it. So I learned about sweat equity and using what I had to get what I wanted. And at that time I had time. I was a teenager. So we cleaned her stockroom and she let us pretty much be in there, do pop-up beauty shop for dances. And it was a win-win.
I mean, you might have been the initial inventor of the pop-up.
So to be fair, it could be argued. I did, when we first launched Hair, we did a traveling pop-up salon with Urban Outfitters. And that was I think in 2010, maybe 2009.
Yeah.
So, I get $0 for that, but I can claim the inventor, who knows, of the pop-up salon.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That I knew nothing about this story. How fascinating.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Known you forever.
So hair found me, and thank God, because I was garbage at school. And it's hard. Not everybody's the same kind of smart. Yeah. I had a ton of energy and had ideas and things and creative, but sitting at a desk, it did not translate. Yeah. And my mom was kind of a younger mom, didn't know there was other educational options out there. It's kind of we're in a great school district, so you just go there. Yeah. And it taught me that it made me feel not very smart, but my mom knew I was a different kind of smart. So did my dad. My dad, both parents are real creative. So I didn't have that hurdle of you better go to college that I know a lot of hairdressers struggle with. Okay. But yeah, when I found hair, I was like, oh, thank God, I'm so good at this.
Yeah. Unreal.
Do it as much as possible.
So then after you've got your pop-up business and then you went to beauty school. What was that like for you?
I found my people. I found friends that I'm great friends with to this day. I finally was engaged and not devastatingly bored all day long. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I had grand ideas. I'm just going to do updos. That's my thing. I'm going to be a bridal specialist. Okay. And then I found color. And then I found perms. Miss Francis, who I talk about her often. She was I think it was the 1987 US Perm champion. Oh. And she had I went to Golden West Beauty School. It's a community college. And she had her trophies displayed. And she let me do her perms. And we had Japanese exchange students that wanted weird perms. Yeah. So I did find perms early on in my career. And I found them fascinating. Out of everything you could learn to do, perms were this thing that like in a couple hours, you could permanently change the texture of somebody's hair, sometimes for the worse, but sometimes for the better. And it felt so creative and punk rock. And that was something that really it was deeply embedded in my like hairdresser DNA about my obsession with texture and creating different kinds of texture and solving for texture.
That's amazing. And we're going to get to this, this new product.
That perm story will make more sense in a minute.
Yeah. We're going to come full circle to the perm story. Okay. So before we get there, talk to me a little bit about, you've worked with some incredible large scale celebrities. How did you get to that work?
I mean, the power of yes. The power, like one of my favorite sayings is courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyways. That's from, I think it's John Wayne.
I like that. It sounds like a John Wayne sort of.
Yeah, it should. If it's not, it should be. And it's that it's, I think there's a big misconception of, doing big things, like working with celebrities, that like, there's this moment, you've done it long enough and you're just ready. That day never comes. Like you'll have missed all the opportunities and you never arrive, especially in a creative profession.
Yeah.
Trends change, things like that's the sooner you realize that you're a forever student and gonna be delightfully frightened at all times is when your adventure really begins. And I was working in Huntington Beach, which although geographically isn't that far from Los Angeles, but it might as well be another country. And it was a Friday night, it was Halloween. A friend of a friend called the salon and was like, do you have anyone that can drive up tonight to LA to do this burlesque troupe, the Pussycat Dolls hair?
Oh, come on.
And they weren't a pop group yet. They were a 15-person burlesque troupe, right? And me, I was licensed, I think at that point, 6 months, renting a station. By the way, never recommend that.
Oh,
you gotta be good at getting new clients because that's all you'll do for the first 2 years because you just ruin people's hair.
Okay, great.
Side note, assist wherever possible. But I was like, I'll do it, so I wrapped up my day. I worked a full day. Got in my Honda Accord, electric seatbelt. It's important to
love that. That's a moment in time. Yes.
Right. Like just, and a couple caboodles, I think I had. I got the receptionist. Her name is Ryan. She knew who the Pussycat Dolls were at that time because they were this like sexy burlesque troupe. She's like, I'll come and help. I'm like, okay, cool. Do you know how to flat iron hair? She's like, yes. It's also
wow.
2001, 2002, maybe.
Okay.
So me and a receptionist, okay, we go. I don't know how old I am at that time. I think 20. Yeah, because I wasn't even old enough I had a fake ID, thank God, because it's in a club, right? And I'm not old enough to get into the Viper room, but Cecily Marie Patterson was. Okay. That's who my ID was.
Oh, Mary Patterson. Okay.
Yeah. So I go and first person to sit in my chair, and chair is, it's like a ottoman in 15 of us in a bedroom or a room at a hotel that's across the street from the venue.
Okay.
Covered my parking, by the way. That is what I got paid, was $20.
Okay.
To cover parking. Yeah.
Whoa.
So first person was Carmen Electra.
Yeah, for sure.
Sit down. Okay. And she had this rad idea, which another thing that I was kind of the inventor of with Carmen Electra's help. You can shame me for this later, but at the time was epic. She's like, I want it like a mohawk, but like volume.
Yeah. Love that look. I mean,
that was the day that was born, me and Carmen Electra.
And you put it on the map. I mean, that was a thing.
Yeah. Never, I'm admitting it here, but yeah. Like, do you remember that? Like pulled back,
pulled back
ponytails, and then the bump it in the front. And
I lived it.
Dolls were notorious for that. Hair.
That was you. Okay. All right.
flat ironed, and then I put like blonde chunk highlights in it.
Oh, just
We,
cherry on top.
yeah. So it was her. And then there's always like secret guests. So I am like 20 years old, 21 years old now. And I'd be like, okay, who's next? And it was like, oh, Scarlett Johansson, casual. Oh, like, Christina Applegate. Like it was such a time to be alive, and there's no social media. So none of this is documented, but it was also like magically present. And these people wanted to be part of this like sexy, cool, female empowering burlesque troupe. And it was rad. And in between sets, I'd be in a actual broom closet with like a click, click light, blow drying sweaty scalps for the next set, helping people get into fishnets, I know how to put like corsets on like nobody's business and all that stuff. And it was such a group effort.
Yeah.
I met some of my best friends to this day. One like worked at Betsy Johnson and then assisted Robin Anton. And then another one's parents owned a hosiery company. So she would come and thought it was like a really cool thing and would give them fishnets. And yeah, these are some of my best friends today. Is like, Jana would be like, oh my God, Paris Hilton, I have to do her bedazzle these shoes. And I'd like learned how to bedazzle, they would like hold extensions for me to flat iron. So we got all paid $0. I guess that's not that, like, I want everyone to get paid. I really do.
Yeah.
But there are things that like, if I had said, well, what does it pay? Rather than just doing it for the experience, because I was a young hairdresser and my motto at that time was like, well, if they're not even paying me, like how much could they expect out of me?
That's
so
fair.
Fuck it up. They paid for my parking. Calm down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, the power of yes. I just showed up and learned on the job and was like, and when they were like, do it more like this, I really collaborated with the artist too. Like Carmen Electra was like, okay, maybe like this. And I kind of became her hands to her idea that she had for her hair. And yeah, it was zero ego, $0, so much fun, so hard. And that's what got me to LA. And then I got like these clients that were like, well, can you color my hair? Can you do my hair for this red carpet? I was like, I better get a part-time salon job up here because nobody wants to drive to Huntington Beach. And then the salon I worked at went under. And I was like, oh, well, I've been saving for a house. And I used all that money and took over a salon at 24. So.
Wow. And was the salon in LA or Huntington Beach?
Yeah, it was in LA.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Amazing.
So I was like, and that was the plan, right? I'm like, oh, and then I'll drive down because I had a full clientele with assistants. I'll drive down, like bang out 2-3 days a week. I can cover the rent on this. Yeah. And I ended up getting fired from that job because she viewed it as competition or whatever.
Oh, wow.
But it was a blessing. I think I would have kept my feet in too many ponds.
Yep.
And it was exactly what I didn't know I needed, was to have to figure it out.
Yeah. So that Pussycat doll experience, then you parlayed that into a lot of other celebrity work, but that was the precedence of you saying, yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'm doing it for free. Yeah. But that gave you the credentials to then build a base.
I mean, they got a record contract with Interscope. Mm-hmm. And I ended up becoming friends with the Interscope managers. John Fair was a huge proponent of celebrities that I got. He was I think the vice president of Interscope or something like that. He's the producer though. He produced Christina Aguilera's albums, the Black Eyed Peas. Yeah, he's incredible. And any of their new talent, he'd have me come in and like figure out the hairdos.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were like concepting like the look.
Oh yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was so fun. And they, would do different music things, like they did Bratz the movie, the music for it. But I got to come in and make Bratz doll hairdos.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So it was so fun. And, just being part of like with other creative people, like there's some of it paid really well, some of it didn't, but oh my gosh, if there's ever opportunities where a creative person is like, hey, let's like fuck around and find out. Like,
Yeah.
do it. That's where like it will only lead to like more. That's like living in abundance to me.
Incredible. Okay. So then that parlayed into a little show called Sheer Genius in 2010, right?
Yes.
How did that come to life?
Let's see. I've been asked to like audition or I guess try out for it for a couple years.
Okay.
But I was really worried. There's something I've like until the day I die, like my goal is for us to value hairdressers' skill set.
Thank you.
And I was really hesitant because a lot of shows that because other things have done that where it's like, ooh, let's make fun of doing hair. So it wasn't until the third season that they could promise me that we wouldn't be using anything that you wouldn't use in real life. Like, because I don't think it's funny to make me cut a dog's hair, because that's actually hard and a totally different job. You know, like grooming animals should also not be slighted of like, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Or getting garden tools. Like there's no scenario that I'm needing to do this and it's not funny. It's also doing it on a human being. I'm like, why are we wanting to see people cry? So it wasn't until the third season that they elevated, which clearly it didn't work because that was the last season. But it was more focused on avant-garde. And that's definitely been my sweet spot as far as like competitive work I've done. And I tried out. What was one of the questions? They're like, if you could describe yourself in one character, I swear this is what got me on. They're like, what character would you be like on a movie? And I was like, oh, Tracy Flick from Election. And if you don't know, you need to know. Like, oh my super God. Intense, like way more intense than you would ever on paper think someone is. That's me.
That's you.
It was. I was that. Not even that character. I was totally myself. Hate me, love me on my season. I mean, my poor husband was so mortified. He's like, oh, can't believe they would have edited this for you to come across that way. And I'm like, low-key, that is that. And I was like, you know, I can't help it but I'm intense and competitive. And
did you get rowdy? Like what? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Rowdy. Okay.
Yeah. Another Matthew Morris, who to this day is one of my best friends. Okay. He and I were like disproportionately won the most things. And I wasn't apologetic about it. And I will tell you, not to pull the lady card, but like, I have found that it makes people uncomfortable when girls or women are unapologetic about their success. Yeah. It just sounds different coming out of a man's mouth. Yeah. It shouldn't. Yeah. I will never be apologetic about that.
Incredible. I love that. So how did that impact your career then?
It's so weird. Like to this day, like there's been meetings like with my own brand where I'll get on like a conference call, and it's helped that like people feel like they know me. So anytime I can feel cozy or comfortable and break down those barriers, or they're like, oh, she is good at hair, is very helpful. So that's helped me. It helped me in different ways being from LA than it did other competitors, because other ones that were like not in LA were like, you know, the town heroes. Like here, nobody cares. They're like, oh, you're on a reality show. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what else? What else have you done? So it was different. Like I didn't get a printed banner and hang it in my front window. Yeah. And like get all these clients because of it. Yeah. But I will say on the show, which hopefully enough time's passed that I won't get sued. When like their hair got messed up, I would give them my card. I'm like, go to my salon, they'll fix it. And like we did get a ton of, and we still do a handful of the models that like their hair jacked up.
Yeah.
That's
That's
fun.
awesome.
That's a fun fact.
Oh, I love it. That's great. Okay, so then after the show, what have you been doing from then until current day?
Yeah. I had signed like the universe is so weird, right? The same day that I signed to go on to Sheer Genius, I signed to be a spokesperson with Sebastian,
Yeah.
professional. And up into that, I had worked for Big Sexy Hair with the founder of
Okay.
Big Sexy Hair. I was an international platform artist, assistant artistic director. So I did like helped with like concept photo shoots and execute
Okay.
big concepts and projects. And then got signed with Sebastian for their relaunch when they got bought by P&G.
Yeah.
And I got like the coolest job I'd ever had, which was
Okay.
like talking with editors, like getting to just chit chat on a big scale, which is my favorite thing to do. Coming up with or helping with positioning for products, meeting with the chemist, which was my favorite part because I always at Sexy Hair helped with testing and formulating and what product do we need 2 years from now,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
you know, preparing the queue for that. So I got to do more of the stuff that I really loved because I do love speaking on big scale, but the kind of hair that I do doesn't always translate into like hair show, you know, because I
Yeah.
was doing like updos and it was just,
Mhm.
I don't know, it just, that never was my big thing, but I'm like, I more like want to connect and talk with people. So I got to do more of that.
Okay.
And then I was with them for years. I had started doing Ariana Grande's hair, but when she was
Okay.
in a TV show. And with
Okay.
that, like Power of Yes, okay, how I got that was, now mind you, nobody in my family, like I don't know anyone in Hollywood technically. Like it's just like showing up, being reliable, you know, not being on drugs, like just being a like halfway decent person and then doing a good job has gotten me everywhere.
Okay.
Um, the union, the 706 union wanted to host a class for cheap flat irons. And I was
Okay.
like, yeah, you can use my space. They'd contacted me. There was a bunch of people because that salon at the time was really close to the Nickelodeon lot.
Okay.
So they came to my salon, and I've always been like that. Like if somebody wanted to do an event at my space, no problem. Use the space. You don't have to pay me. More the merrier.
Mhm.
And one of the hairdressers there worked on the show that Ariana Grande was on. Mind you, she was like a teenager in a show.
Yeah.
And they had an emergency, needed someone to color a wig to match when she had red hair. And they hit me up, and I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'd never really colored wigs before, but I'll figure it out. Colored the wig. This girl, Ariana, loved it and actually wanted her hair the color of the wig.
Oh, okay.
Then she started coming to me, and then her
Yeah.
brother came to me, and then her mom came to me. And then she ended up being like one of the best singers of our time.
Yeah.
And I helped take her to Brown. I helped find
Wow.
a signature look that she felt comfortable with, which was a ponytail.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And so another hairdo you can blame on me.
Yeah.
But because she's a fidgeter, you know, because she's like, she really is like, everyone's like, oh, is she nice? I adore that girl till the cows come home. Her family's great. She comes from like hardworking entrepreneurial mom.
Oh,
Yeah, like she is, and Ariana is a business person. Like she
wow.
is conscious decisions for her career. And yeah, she's incredible. But she needed hair that she like felt, you know, snatched and
Yeah.
confident that she wouldn't like be futzing with it when
Yeah. Yeah.
she sang. And we came up with the ponytail. And it started with she had to hide, we would dye her the front of her brown and
Okay.
hide the rest of her hair that was red while she was in between building her solo
Oh,
career and still fulfilling her contract
oh,
on.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that's kind of how that started. That's how it started with the half up, half down with her, with it
Okay.
back, and then
Uh-huh.
kind of evolved. And I stopped doing her hair and handed her off to a talented stylist in my salon when I had a baby and
Yeah.
open a salon at the same time in New
Okay.
York.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, my husband was like, so I know you like a lot of jobs, but this is too many. And that was the
Bi-coastal
one.
salons and right too.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I opened my New York salon when my first was 6 months old.
Wow.
It was an awesome opportunity. My landlord was Urban Outfitters, and we had a great run in the LA salon, and they were like, let's do this concept where it like opens up into Urban Outfitters in New York. I
So
bid for the project at 6 months pregnant, thinking no one is like giving this project to this triangle shaped, like about to explode pregnant lady. And one of my favorite things, like, again, I only like tell these stories for anybody to know, like, we're all thinking the same things. Like, there's this no magical arrival, right? I'm sitting at this board meeting with my presentation and like explaining why I'm the one you bet on to do this huge build out for me in New York and how I'm going to do this, and thinking I'm going to wear a big old purple dress and really high heels and a lot of makeup, and no one's going to notice I'm 6 months pregnant. Yep.
Okay. And
Flew to Philadelphia where they're based. I'm like, I'm good. Nobody can tell. One of the like CEO tops immediately. And you can't take this as sexist, because here's the other thing too. When you get into business, there's just realities. And if someone's betting on you, they have to know that your emotional maturity, you're like that your familial life is also set up for success, because that will take you down whether you like it or not. Mm-hmm. So you have to have this, like, you want to be like, well, that's nobody's business and don't judge me that I'm giant pregnant. But it is a reality, and that is a valid question. And they asked the thing, which this also prepared me. I read Lean In on my way there to really like get me in headspace. So I was like, ready to go. He's like, we noticed that you're pregnant. Me, I'm like, what? I thought I hid this.
Like, but I had this purple dress on. How'd you notice?
Also, too, there's two ways I can go with this, where I'm like, how dare you talk, but they're going to invest a ton of money. Mm-hmm. And we got to put all cards on the table with this kind of stuff if we're going to go into business together. And he's like, I noticed you're pregnant. How do you plan on traversing this with being bi-coastal? And like, there's no good way to answer that, right? So I just said, thank you. Yes, I've looked into it, and they allow babies on the plane and in New York. So I think I'll be okay. And because when in doubt, for me, I always lean into humor. I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, what? Like, finding one day of care is hard enough. Now I have to find two.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So what did they say to that? Did they
all laughed and gave me the project? Because like, anybody that can come back with that answer deserves to be bet on.
100%. That is incredible.
Oh, yeah. It was like, and that was the one thing I was so terrified to be asked, because I promise, I think it was like I was against like Floyd's barbershop. The dudes that run that are no, they're not 6 months pregnant. Maybe they have someone that is, but that's not showing up to the meeting.
Right.
So, yeah.
Unreal.
And you can, like, also too, like, for anyone out there that's like, oh, can she have it all? Like, all is relative. Agreed. If you want to be a mom and be an entrepreneur, and yes, it's just going to look different. Like, it's not going to look, you're going to have to make some like
changes. You do have to give. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too. And I have a bone to pick with the lean in as well, because I mean, you lean in and you lean out other areas.
Totally.
So it's not all just put every ounce of your being
into. How do I make you more comfortable, sir?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so I'm kind of like, lean in, lean out, ebbs and flows. I mean, I started my first company when I was pregnant, 6 months pregnant with my first. So similar, right? So, and I mean,
it was like, what are you thinking? However, are you going to do this? Like, I don't know. I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, right. But we're going to be fine when we get there. So I love that. Okay. Talking about getting there, we want to talk about Curl Cult. Tell us a little bit about the brand, the journey. We want to know all of the things.
Okay. So Curl Cult was this like deep burn inside me of, I have helped like behind the scenes in my career, I've worked with so many brands in doing their photo shoots, conceptualizing their messaging, like to make it make sense and that it's relevant, coming up with rad products that nobody makes, like doing so many things that like big brands don't even execute on. And the like better I got at my job, the like less people actually did with my things, my clevers.
Okay.
So that became increasingly frustrating. And I knew, and it was always right after Sheer Genius, everyone's like, come out with your own product line. I have zero desire to come up with a superfluous SKU range that already exists.
Well said. Well said.
Also, I never, ever have wanted something named after me because I would like to eventually maybe sell it or just have autonomy and just be the only Janine Jarman. I don't need a hairspray to say it. I don't need a salon to shout it. I'm good.
Okay.
So hence why I have just creepy, offensive adjacent names with whatever. That's on purpose, by the way. I like to like cut to the chase. If you don't think it's funny, then you are not for us.
Yeah. I love it. You have a point of view, no doubt.
Yeah. And it's to like guarantee we stay in that lane. But I was always like, I always did perms on the sly, but knew, God, why hasn't anybody made these better? They could be so much better. And as like bleach additives came, smoothing systems, color that smelled better, like chemicals were really like leveling up and getting challenged to be less caustic, to behave better, to not kill stylists, eventually. Things like that. I'm like, but none of it no one had like connected the dots for permanent texture.
Yeah.
Side note, I know why they didn't because it was really hard and took a long time and it's expensive. So I do know now why they, at first for years, I'm like, come on, someone, let's do this. And then they didn't.
You're like, oh,
yeah. So it was just time. And it was, a family decision because I had, in order to develop my own line, I had to not take contract work that paid my bill, that like was a big source of income. So now that my poor husband, right? I'm like, so I'm not going to do celebrities that pay really well. I'm also not going to do contract work. And we're going to take a loan against our house so that I can make a perm that nobody knows they want yet.
Yes. Amazing. All the chips stacked.
Hey, who wants to marry Janine? But thankfully I have a great partner and a great team that has believed in my unbelievable at times. And I did. It took me 5 years to develop the product. I ended up trading my skill set with a lab in Italy. They wanted to launch their own products in the US. So I said, hey, I have a really weird job that I do for brands. I'll organize your SKUs. I'll come up with concept of how you launch, in what order, how you Americanize your imagery and all that. So I did that all, which a bunch of it they didn't do anything with per use, right? In exchange, they made my perm for me, which it was like the weirdest deal anyone struck. Like when I got investors, they're like, what? Like, what does that mean? Like,
that's some real hustle is what that is.
Yeah, they're like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm like, I know, right?
But here we are with the perm.
Yeah. They're like,
how? So I can imagine you were very involved at the lab or they knew, okay.
I had to fly to Italy. And it was like, I made the deal with the president of the, whatever, like 100-year-old facility that wants to do nothing weird. They want to stay in their like, what they're currently fulfilling lane, where this guy really wants to like, in his role, he wants to expand and do great things. And that was what, so I meet with a chemist who's like an older gentleman, Italian. We have a interpreter and we're like, I'm like, okay, so here's my thesis. Like I wrote out all the things, I tested everything, kind of came up with like some hypothesis of best case scenarios, different ways we can innovate the perm, how we could solve for why people don't want a perm, and what my hypothesis was around of why it wasn't producing results that people wanted.
Okay.
And I'm like, so here's what we're going to do. Isn't this exciting? And he was like,
no,
shouting at me in Italian. The interpreter's like, and I'm like, yeah, trust me. Without speaking Italian, I can imagine.
Yeah.
This thing was like, okay, so big celebrity stylist, you know so much. Why would we dedicate resources, lab time to the most dead skew we have? You know, because this is a horizon product. I'm like, well, mind you, this is now 8 years ago. Blow dry bars, smoothing systems, the anti of curl. But I knew like it wasn't sustainable. I could already tell getting blow dries all the time was breaking my client's hair. You know, the smoothing systems, straight hair is flattering on the least amount of people. And it's not, you know, for a lot of people, and the older we get too, straight hair, it's not that flattering. And a lot of times we feel more expressive. It's lifting to have, you know, then we started wrap curling it, right? But again, you like heat styling your hair every day is not sustainable. You will break your hair off eventually. Now we're doing it on highlighted hair. Like was not, hence it really helped with like anti-damaging and those products, but those are all temporary solutions. So I was like, what if I could come up with a perm that produced more relaxed, natural results? Not exactly wrap curls, but really damn close to it.
Yeah.
Also helped, you know, a lot of people were just straightening or curling because they had curly hair under here and frizzy flat hair here. So what if I could imitate natural curls? Because a lot of times perms didn't do that. They created permed looking curls. So that was my goal. And then to innovate on then now, how do I get hairdressers to want to do this? Well, it needs to smell better. It needs to be made with gentle ingredients that are actually restorative. And it needs to take half the amount of time and process in a double booking scenarios, as well as feel elevated for the client experience so that we can charge same pricing per hour that we charge for color.
Wow.
So it was a lot of ways I needed to innovate on it.
So eventually the chemist obviously came around and thrilled with the final result, but walk me through that testing.
Oh my God. It was awful.
I mean, it seems insurmountable, honestly.
And I can tell you the only thing that kept me going was, it was a couple of things. One, it was an actual burn in my chest, like an itch I had to scratch. Like even if this failed, I had to just do it. I don't know how else to explain it besides that.
Yeah.
The other part was, you know, we needed more revenue generating opportunities for hairdressers.
Yeah. Right.
That weren't boring. Like nothing wrong with smoothing systems, but they quickly could, you know, deregulate that, which they already have in California.
Right.
So I needed to this is just a personal thing. Same with like my personal feelings about competition shows was like, at the end of the day, when I'm on my deathbed, all I want to know is that I helped hairdressers be successful, feel invigorated, inspired, but more importantly, like saved to buy a house, like did the things and had a sustainable career. And that I helped add some dollars to that.
Awesome.
Or helped them level that up. The other part for clients, I want to be able to make them successful at home with their hair. I also was sick of that component. So much trend was like, felt so like out of touch with actual human beings who were busy. It was like, oh, you want great hair. So, okay, you're going to spend $1 bajillion for your highlights. Then another $1 bajillion for hair stuff to repair the said highlights. Now you're going to curling iron it every day. I don't have time to do that. So there's this huge piece of consumer pie that's just wearing their hair their expensive highlights in a just crappy wad on the back of their hair, not feeling their best and not feeling engaged in this beauty experience on the daily.
Wow. Well said. Incredible.
I know it's like a big, intense, this is my problem. I want clients to feel better, and I want hairdressers to be part of that movement.
I love it. So talk to me, you mentioned revenue, putting a little bit of money back in their pocket or additional revenue stream. Talk to me about how stylists can use Curl Cult to increase revenue in the salon.
So fun fact, if you do 2 of them a week, you stand to get upwards of $20,000 to $30,000 to
a year to the bottom line to your services.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And in most cases, you can charge once you get your speed up with rolling. I currently make more per hour doing perm services, doing texture services than I ever did doing color. And there's once you get really good at it, yes, there's going to be some redos where they're like, oh, it didn't take, you'll have to do it again. But the timing is much more predictable than color services in a lot of cases. You also, this doesn't cannibalize your highlight business, your color business, or your haircut business. So this is a additional revenue source that you can eventually double book with that has a fixed amount of back bar cost based on amount you're charging, amount you're using.
Wow. Walk me through what the service looks like. If you're like, okay, you reinvented the perm, talk to me straight about it.
And I love that question so many times, because we're on the precipice of this becoming a thing.
Yeah.
I'll have stylists, they're like, I'm certified, but nobody's asked for a perm. I'm like, you're right. Because this is so much more than this. Yeah. This is going to be on the people that they would never think they could solve their problems this way. So as a stylist, what we're looking for is in the consultation, tell me what you're loving, tell me what you're hating. My hair feels thin. I want bangs, but I know I have a cowlick. I have this big split in the back. I hate heat styling my hair every day. My texture's uneven. All these things that are so normal.
Yep.
I want to grow my hair out, but the iron's breaking my hair off.
Okay.
I wish I could just wash and go. Okay. I wish I could have this haircut, but I don't want to have to heat style it to do it. And that's for men and women. A lot of guys feel like they can only have one haircut because they have stick straight hair or big bushy frizzy hair. We can reform their pattern or give them texture to support haircuts that are more conducive to their lifestyle and what they want to achieve.
So cool.
So listening to those, what are you loving? What are you hating? What are your wishes? And figuring out how you can lean into permanent texture as a way to solve those. So the process, this is not so the no's are people that are 100% bleached. We need bonds to be able to break, to reconnect, to form good curls. Now, have I permed to bleach and tone? Yes. Super healthy hair, and they only want to wiggle, or they just want some body and memory. You can do that in most cases. This will not reverse damage though. So if somebody's hair is damaged, if you cannot comb it out once you've shampooed it at the back bar, that hair is too damaged to do any sort of permanent texture service on. They need to cut it, fix it, whatever. So you're going to do a clarifying shampoo. If they are a swimmer, have any sort of health concerns, you're going to have to do a metal detox as well. Any kind of metals in the hair. We found that with color, there's so many metal detox products that came out on the market that can fight with the perm results. And we are finding that this summer, especially with young kids in perming them, that it just doesn't take because they have all that pull in their hair.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. So get them clean and clarified, get them metal detox if need be. Our perm is softer in nature. So whatever you would have done to get a result with a traditional perm, you're going to drop 1 to 3 rod sizes, depending on how resistant that person's hair is.
Okay.
You're going to go smaller, which is great news for short hair because it's so hard to put big rods in short hair. Now you can comfortably go down a few rod sizes to get those in.
Okay.
Before you do a Curl Cult service though, you're going to go to curlcult.com, get certified for free, 30
Okay.
minutes for our Cosmo certification, 15 minutes for our barber certification. Puts you
Wow.
on the map and you're good to go.
Wow.
Yeah. That was something too. That was like, I was so tired as a salon owner. I've owned a salon for 18 years now.
Yeah.
We'd get so excited about doing something and they're like, okay, you can pay $2,000 to fly to
Right.
San Antonio, Texas and I'm like, wait, all I want to know is how to use your stuff correctly.
Right.
And then I'll keep buying your stuff.
Don't charge me to do that.
Yeah. So that was something personally, salon owner to salon owner, stylist to stylist. I want you to use this correctly. And I want you to be able to dive in head first, right when you're excited to start doing this and not have that lag deter you from bringing this into your salon.
That's incredible. What do you think like the uptick or the learning curve is? So you're certified and you're like, okay, I'm going to do my first one. Like, is it just the natural nature of things you've done in the past that can come forward skill wise?
It's challenging, right? So many people have not wrapped a perm and avoided it at all costs.
Okay.
And they're so scared. The good news is our solution is very forgiving. So hook ends will not be the issue like they were. My first recommendation is get somebody with healthy hair, friend, family member. I have found when I put out there, like, who wants permanent texture? Who wants waves that last for 90 days? You have no problem. I have gotten perm models easier than I've ever gotten with color or cut. So just put it out there. Do 2 to 3 models just to get your rolling up and to get cozy with the process. And then you'll be good to go.
Wow. Unreal. Where is Curl Cult going from here?
Where's Curl Cult going from here? Oh man. We have
the moon and back, right?
I know, right? No, we definitely have some great products in the hopper. We launched with the most necessary. I always want to keep it tight and tidy and focused. We're going to come out with new ways to use it, leaning into like reverse texture and how we can soften intense coily hair, reverse textured hair. Leaning into more barbering. We're going to do some stuff with Ruzel, kind of doing, I'm a big fan of plays well with others. So with Ruzel that we're going to be playing with in the future of perming looks, we did kind of a tester class and it was fabulous. Like it just ignited these kick-ass haircuts that they did. And it took a guy with like a cool mullet, but then perming it, oh my gosh, it was, these guys floated out of the class. Their hair was everything they dreamed of.
I love it.
We're going to be working with Bellamine and all the, a bunch of different extension lines under their categories. So we're going to show you how to perm extensions and create customizable texture for long hair, extension hair. Opening extensions up as a possibility to a lot more people.
Right.
Yeah. So just a couple things. Cutting, I'm going to show. It's so funny, right? I was like, I'm going to launch a perm and show everybody how to perm. I realized there's a huge deficit of a lot of stylists don't really know curly, coily, textured hair. So they're like, oh my God, I created curly hair. Now what do I do?
What? Yeah.
We will be the household name for curl in its entirety. I like to say, if you want curls, we got you. If you got curls, we got you. So I want to be that, like, what hairdressers and consumers lean towards for solving their texture needs, wants, and desires.
Well, I have no doubt you're going to get there, right? The hustle is real. The Janine Jarman hustle there's no denying it.
No. Yeah. I mean, and what a category to pick, right?
I love it though.
All my mentors are like, you would. I'm like, best believe.
You scratch the itch. Now we're going.
Yeah.
Amazing. So it was so fun having you on. The next part we're going to talk about is really quick. It's called the Tease Quick Takes. We're talking rapid fire. I'm going to ask you a couple questions just to round it out. All right. Number one. These are going to be good. Product that you owned, beauty or hair care product?
Beauty. Yeah. Makeup. It was that glitter gel.
Oh, wow. All right. I like that a lot. All right. Are you superstitious? And if so, about what?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I
Oh.
just talked about this today. Making my bed. I have an unnatural belief that if I don't make my bed at home, in a hotel, that I am going to have like a piano is going to fall from the sky type of day.
Wow. That's a unique one. Mm-hmm.
My
Is
mom
it
gave
rooted?
it to me.
Okay. She gave it to you. Okay.
And
Great.
I gave it to my kids. I know that's, but there's worse things, right?
No, it's passing on a family folk tale, if you will.
Yeah. You gotta make your bed. You gotta make your bed every morning.
I love it. All right. Who would play you? Oh, you know the answer to this. Who would play you in a biopic of your life?
I mean, my dream person would be like Mary Kate Olsen.
Love that.
I
That's
love her.
crazy.
And not Ashley.
Okay. Not
Mary
hard pass on Ashley. Okay.
Yeah. But
Got
most
it.
people would probably be like Zoe Deschanel or
Yeah.
who's the other one? Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yes. Both. You look like both.
Big bulgy eyes, brown hair.
But beautiful and
Oh,
beautiful.
there's that.
All right. What do you consider the ultimate comfort food?
Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Okay. Like the powder out of the box.
Yeah, or a Costco hot dog.
Oh, solid choice. Okay.
Or a Home Depot hot dog. But like those are my two hot dogs. Or otherwise known as, from my children, the hot dog stores.
Okay.
Oh, can we go to the hot dog store for dinner? I'm like, yes, say
That's
less.
incredible. All right, last one. Say you are on a deserted island and can only bring 3 beauty products or hair care products.
Yep.
What are you bringing with you?
Okay. Yes. Magic Spell leave-in conditioner. That's
Okay.
Bolts. I made it to be my favorite product.
Okay.
Turns out it's also everybody else's, but she's the best. It's what is the brand? Tony Moly. I don't think that's how you say it. It's a Korean skincare.
Okay.
It's rice peeling serum that, oh my God, I use it twice a week. I swear up and down by it.
Okay. Got it.
And then it's a new product that I just fell in love with.
Okay.
It is the Bonbon.
Yeah.
By Violetta. It's like a prep cream spray.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like a primer, hydrator, all in one. I'm wearing it under my makeup today.
It looks lovely.
But I look forward to every day spraying it on my face.
Wow. That's a testament. Okay. Like you wake up thinking about it. Like
I love skincare. Like I'm probably more inspired by skincare in my hair care products. When I design hair care products, it's like nuances in hair care or skincare that I'm loving that I want to then get that similar experience in hair care.
Amazing. I love it. All right. Last question. Where can people follow you, fellow Curl Cult?
Okay. Follow Curl Cult on all the things at curlcult.com. You can follow my salon at hairroinsalon.com. And if you want to follow me, you can follow me. It's a lot of kid pictures and like where my travels are at Janine Jarman.
Okay.
On all
the
the things.
Only. The one and only, Janine.
I got it early enough. Have
no
underscores or numbers.
I know. Isn't that a nice feeling? I got my Kelly Ellers too back in the day.
Look at us.
Well, thank you again so much. What a joy. I've learned so much. And, you know, the next time I'm in town, I'm heading over for a Curl Cult.
Yes. Sure. I'm going to that and a glass of wine. We've been threatening to hang out and we need to. We only see each other in like super chaotic show working situations.
We're going to solve that. We're going to do that by the end of the year.
Okay, perfect. I love it.
All right. It's done. All right.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.